Welcome to Shop's Garage, and I've got big news. Well, it's big news if you're a car trader because it's regarding something we've suspected for a long time in the car trade. Now, if you watch channels like Shifting Metal and Car Trader Pro, what you'll have seen recently is quite an increase in finance companies dumping cars back onto dealers. Now, by that, what I mean is when you buy a vehicle and you take finance out on it, the finance company becomes the owner of the car. You're not actually the owner of the car. The finance company is until you've made all your payments. Now, what often happens is if someone has a problem with the car, they will stop the payments on the car. They'll stop the finance payments, or they'll complain to the finance company. And then the finance company, as the owner of the vehicle, will go back to the dealer and say, you need to sort this, you need to fix it. Or they'll literally just dump the car back on the dealer. They'll send the car back to the dealer and they will withdraw the payment they made to the dealer for the vehicle. Now, most of the time they do this on the basis of saying, using the Consumer Rights Act and saying that the vehicle must have been faulty at point of sale if XYZ has happened. Now, if the vehicle is under 6 months old, the dealer has to prove the fault didn't exist at point of sale. If the vehicle is over 6 months old, it's up to the purchaser to prove that the fault existed with the vehicle. So just to clarify, a lot of people misunderstand this. With the Consumer Rights Act, it's not within the first 6 months that anything goes wrong with the car, the dealer has to fix it. The dealer only has to fix faults that are considered that existed at point of sale. They're a fault when they sold the car. Because as you use a car, naturally, as you use a car via wear and tear, a used car, things are going to wear out. And the law allows for that and understands that's the case. So it's not saying a dealer is responsible for something that wears out in your car in 4 months' time. It's saying you're only responsible for faults that would have existed at the point the car was sold. So how do you establish that the fault existed at point of sale? Well, like I say, within the first 6 months, the dealer has to prove it didn't exist. And they might do that via the MOT report, or they may have done a PDI that shows your electric window did work when the car went out, your air conditioning was cold when the car went out, your tyres were at however many mil when it went out, these kind of things. So if a dealer's doing his job properly, is recording things correctly, sending cars out with brand new MOTs on it, freshly serviced, made sure the service histories are up to date on them, then they're going to be able to justifiably say, actually, that wasn't a fault at point of sale. So the question is, how are these finance companies dumping cars back on people, as I said, as you've seen in other people's videos, after 7, 8, 9 months. I even heard of one nearly 2 years on, a finance company dumped a car back and said that it had a fault at point of sale. How are they doing that? Well, what they're doing is they're getting independent reports, independent professionals to assess the vehicle, provide a report that says, actually, that fault will have existed at point of sale. And as such, if it goes to court, a judge is going to say, well, the expert says that that fault will have existed at point of sale. So therefore, Mr. Dealer, even though it's 7, 8 months on, even though it's a year on, 24 months on, expert says that fault would have existed at point of sale, so you need to refund the customer for the car or do the repair. Now, the trouble is, the finance companies are the people employing these independent people. And these independent people may well work for the same company over and over and over again. Because as a finance company, you've got thousands of customers out there with cars. You're going to have probably hundreds of people complain there's a fault with the car. So you'll be able to keep one of these independent assessors pretty busy. Now, I think you can see where I'm going with this. I've just had notification that a finance company has been caught out. And the finance company has been caught out telling the independent inspector in advance of going out to the car what they need to find, what the conclusion needs to be. So they've gone to the independent tester and said, you need to come back with a report that says, I'm going to be a bit careful at the moment because it's ongoing at the moment, says X, Y, and Z will have been at fault at point of sale. Now, I can't remember exactly how this was found out, whether it was because I think there was, like I said, there's an ongoing case, a claim against the dealer, and I think perhaps maybe an email or something that wasn't supposed to be transferred over was transferred over. Now, I think for a while, some of us have thought, well, how independent are these independent people? Because at the end of the day, they're being paid by the finance company. Like I said, they're probably getting a lot of work off the finance company, and these reports always seem to find in favour of them, to be honest. You kind of know if you end up in court, like I say, with one of these reports, the chances are it's not going to go in your favour. So the fact that one of them has actually been caught out might go to explain why there has been quite a big increase. We thought that these sort of claims had increased quite a lot, and we're seeing more cases of cars coming back under finance. And it might be quite clear now why that is the case. If they're pretty confident that every time a car goes back, a dealer's going to have to swallow it, do they give do they keep the payments the customers made up to that point? If the customers are going to get a refund, are they getting a refund of 100% of their money? Or is the finance company getting to keep some of their payments? I don't see how they can lose either way, to be honest. So what's the solution? Well, I guess the only solution for dealers is every time you get one of these, you're going to have to get your own independent guy to have a look at it. Now, he's not going to be probably so in your favour because you're only going to be doing one or two once in a blue moon. But you're going to have to get your own independent report to try and counteract the other one. I think at the end of the day, like I say, I think the finance companies rely on dealers just not having the time and inclination to do that. Tie themselves up in knots over something they think they might not still win. It's easy to just take the car back. Yeah, as I say, when you're seeing on these other channels these crazy examples of people being asked to take cars back 8-9 months or more down the road, this might go some way to explaining why that kind of thing is happening. You can see why I don't like doing finance. I don't really do finance. I don't push finance. I'm not really interested in it for the very small amount of commission you really get versus all this hassle and this potential of comeback that later on down the road. I don't want to be involved, especially someone who's selling cars that are 10 years old and could be 80,000 miles plus. People are bad enough with a warranty that's 3 or 6 months wanting all kinds of fairly unreasonable work done on an older vehicle. If you add into the pot a finance company that's going to pull this kind of malarkey, who wants to get involved in it? Anyway, nice that one's been caught out, and I thought you guys would be interested in that little bit of insider information. Don't forget our raffle for this fantastic, freshly MOT'd Mercedes CL is now up and running. Epic looking car. If you missed it, there's a video on it earlier on in the channel, so go back a couple of days, there's a video on this on the channel. It's a fantastic motor, incredible condition. We've just said just freshly MOT'd it and serviced it, and we are giving it away with a year's road tax, which is only £415 on this car. A lot of people thought it was £700 plus, but it's only £415 on this car. I can confirm that because I ran it through the DVLA site as if I was going to tax it myself. Now, some people also asked, is there a cash alternative? And there is a £4,000 cash alternative on the car. So if for any reason you don't want the car, which I can't understand why you wouldn't, then you will get the cash alternative. Now, as with all our raffles, we'll be giving a portion of the proceeds to a local charity, and this time we are going for Ability FC. That is a football club in Barnstable, just down the road from me, that is there for those with disabilities or additional needs, helps them get out and play as a football team. A local person asked if I could help support them because they really do need the help. They don't get a lot of money given to them, and they need to buy kit and boots and all kinds of things. So when you enter, you will be supporting that charity as well. I'll put a link to everything in the video description and down below. Don't forget, if you use the code on screen at the moment as well, you'll also get 20% off your tickets, but that is a limited special offer, so get in there. It's running out in a couple of days. Get in there and get your tickets nice and early.